Hey, remember back in '93 when Ryan thought Shockmaster was going to be a future world champion?
The modern day wrestling god! What?
And that's why, Jack, you're so smart.
Now back to Jack and Ryan on the MonsterCast.
Two big signings for AEW in Megan Bayne and Mariah May. Mariah May debuted this week on Dynamite. Megan Bayne was on Dark and Elevation a few times, but apparently was signed for months and no one knew, and she's been on excursion in Stardom. Now, obviously we knew she was in Stardom, but we just thought she went to fucking Stardom.
Yeah.
When Elevation and Dark got the plug pulled on them in favor of Collision and Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
But apparently she's been over there on her AEW contract the whole time. So, obviously these are two huge signings, in my opinion, is when you're looking at strictly women's division. But how big do you think they'll be? And I guess the main question I got from this is because not only do you have Megan Bayne and Mariah May going to AEW, right? You also have Kyrie coming back to WWE, okay? Yeah. Mercedes is still out there on a paper appearance deal, and everybody's trying to figure out where the hell she's going to go. If she's going to go back to WWE and be involved in this new Damage Control storyline, or if she's going to go to AEW, obviously because of everybody's dream matches that she has over there with Hayter and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple, but I don't know if it'd be worth. Yeah, okay, good. Sorry.
Then, of course, you have All In 2 coming up as well, which is a big deal. I like the focus that is on the women's divisions and bolstering them, but does it really matter if we're not giving them more than one match a show?
Yeah, because I mean, you can still do a lot with the one match. And a lot of the problem with the women's division, it's not just the fact that they're not getting many matches; it's that there's no story behind them. So as long as they're still doing shit backstage and they're still in segments and stuff, it's still. I mean,
AEW is still sitting on Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb right now, which are two of their better wrestlers.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Deeb. That seems weird. And I wonder if that has anything to do with the Skrull connection or something like that, where they kind of got.
Yeah, but everybody knew she had a Skrull connection before when she was in AEW, and I don't see how we can hold that against her.
I mean, who you're with is a choice. So
I agree. I agree with that. But if she made her choice to overlook or forgive, depending on how you look at it, Skrull for his actions, I'm not saying that we have to forgive Skrull because I don't, but I think it's weird. I think it's creepy. But I'm not going to hold Serena Deeb responsible for that. Like, we don't need to cancel Deeb for that. We cancel the right person for that.
We do that with Paige with her shitty boyfriend, right?
Yeah, but I don't boo Paige. I like Paige. But yeah, she has a shitty boyfriend. I'm not holding her against it. I do think she should have better taste in men. And it's not just him. It was Del Rio, too.
Yeah. Well, all I'm saying is that I don't know if that's related, but...
I'm just saying, you're sitting on a shit ton of talent already on both companies. Both companies are pretty deep right now with women. Big rosters. I'm all for bolstering them up more. Hell, go get Heidi Howitzer. I love Heidi Howitzer. She had that fucking hilarious match with Athena on Ring of Honor. I don't care if you bolster them. That's fine. But you've got to have more women's match. 2 women's matches is not asking for you to change the fucking world here. I don't think it is.
I mean, I've said this before, and I still think it's true.
I know what you're going to say, and I completely agree with what you're about to say. But I'm just saying,
just doesn't like women.
You care enough to hire the women to make your roster be like, so you can say, hey, look at this piece of paper. Our roster from top to bottom is amazing. It's the best women's roster in the world, but still only Impact has more than one fucking women's match.
I mean, I think he likes the women as people. I think he doesn't like. I think he wants to give them opportunities or whatever. But I just don't think he likes booking women's matches. That's what it is.
Now I will say on Collision they did have 2 women's matches if I remember correctly. Was it Collision? I watched them back to back, so I don't know.
There was
Ruby Soho versus Red Velvet was on what? Was that on Rampage?
I thought
Rampage was live this week. I watched them back to back this morning, so that's all one big show to me. But it was Ruby Soho versus Red Velvet, and then of course you had Willow versus Julia Hart on Collision.
Velvet versus Soho was on Rampage.
Okay, so it's still one women's match per show then. So I do not like that. Now on Rampage it makes sense because you only got an hour. I'm cool with that. But you can't tell me that you can sit there and have an hour show and have a women's match every week on Rampage, but then you have a 2-hour show and you can't equate that to 2 women's matches. Even if one is a squash. Even if one is fucking Nyla Rose coming out and squashing some nobody from that town that they're in, that they're going to cheer real quick and get a cheap pop, and then Nyla destroys them like Wardlow. I have no issue with that. Just have a fucking second match.
I think the thing with Nyla is they seem to only bring her out as a like random challenger for the belt. Sometimes,
she's not the big bad in the video game, but she's like one of the mini bosses, like before you get to the big bad type deal.
Right.
But she never wins the big matches anymore.
Yeah, they still got Taya Valkyrie sitting doing nothing. Because I'm assuming she signed, right? So
yeah, she signed. He's only Taya Valkyrie sitting there. Agreed.
They have enough to do like a women's pay-per-view and shit. But yeah, you're right. They don't.
I mean, I don't need them to do a pay-per-view, but you get what I'm saying though. Like
no. But this is the problem with having like a really deep roster, I guess. What match would you have taken off of Collision for another women's match? Probably like what, the LFI versus Workhorseman one or what?
Yeah, probably. Honestly.
Yeah.
Not only I like the Workhorsemen, I don't like them with Kip Sabian. Butcher and Blade and Bunny were with Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford was far a better group. Stable to me.
So too. Yeah.
Fucking amazing group. It was like literally watching a fucking DC show that we were talking about earlier on CW. That was just so good together. It was great.
Yeah.
He had the henchman, he had the two women, and he was the bad guy, the main villain or whatever. Cocky, funny, had the look. It was good. It was just a good combination. I can't believe. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, yeah, probably that match. I'd probably take that match off. Like, obviously, you're not gonna probably debut Mariah May in a match in a while because of the storyline that she's coming off with, right? Mm-hmm. Megan Bayne is overseas. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But you still are sitting on so much talent. I don't know what the hell's going on with Thunder Rosa. Still, because this 4 to 6 injury has been like fucking Bob Orton with a goddamn cast. It's never fucking gonna happen, dude. It's never gonna be healed. Like, I don't understand. But Serena Deeb sitting there, I do remember somebody saying that Serena Deeb was injured, but I don't think it was that big of an injury or we all would have heard about it. She should have been back by now.
Well,
I feel like she should have been back.
Dave mentions in chat, there's 2 women's matches at Full Gear. Yes, that's true. That's also like a 3 or 4 hour show by the end of it.
If there's 2 women's matches at Full Gear, what's the...
Yeah. It's Sheeta and Tony, and then...
Sheeta and Tony, okay. And then you got the triple threat, which should be a fatal 5-way. And I had this conversation on Twitter as well. If you're going to bring back Red Velvet and she gets the win over Ruby Soho, why are we not just having Chris Statlander go against Red Velvet, Willow, Sky Blue, and Julia Hart? Can't I just not put them all in there? Yeah. Just put them all in there. You just had her go over Ruby just so she can lose anyway? Because she's going to lose to fucking Sky Blue. Clearly know it's going to be Sky Blue, right?
Well, yeah, because that's the way the story's going. They're pushing Sky.
Just put all 5. Oh my God, just put all 5. They all deserve it. I haven't seen a better 2 return matches for a woman coming back after a long hiatus than Red Velvet in a long time, if ever. Her last 2 matches were great.
Statlander?
You can't. No, the Jade one, it was like basically a fucking squash. What are you talking about?
I mean, the one at the pay-per-view.
That's her first one back?
I don't count that as the first one.
You can't count the championship win as a first match back?
No. It was half a match after somebody already had a match.
You can't count. She won the title. You can't count. You have to count that as the first match back.
You count every Money in the Bank cash in as a real match?
That's not what that was.
That's basically what it was. It was the same thing.
She didn't win anything to get that. She just showed up.
That's what it was, though.
She clocked in and did her job and got out. That's not a great match.
Yeah.
And yes, I do count those as matches. They're not good, though.
Okay.
I do count those.
Some of them are good.
I just need more, bro. I just need more. I'm not asking you to do four matches and 5 segments of women on a 2-hour show or anything. I don't feel like what I'm asking for is a lot, considering. And I wouldn't be asking this. I would not even be asking this if it wasn't for your roster being as stacked as it is, too. That has nothing to do with it.
2 on Dynamite, and then
if your roster wasn't that good, I don't want to see fucking 3 women's matches a show. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's very plausible for you with that stacked roster that you have currently, and that's only getting more stacked that we're finding out this week with Megan Bayne and Mariah May, to have 2 fucking matches. You found out a way to fucking the last 2 years put Anna Jay and the Bunny in a tag team match that fucking blew the fucking roof off both times when they were in street fights or whatever, and then never used them again. as a tag team for the rest of the year. Why can't we just keep that running?
Well,
on a more consistent basis, I mean.
Yeah.
You can throw a fucking tag team match out there and involve more of your women. You got Amy Sakura sitting fucking there.
What's your ideal
My ideal
ratio?
setup for women's matches, right?
Yeah.
Is this.
Like two on Dynamite?
One women's match on Rampage, 2 for Collision, 2 for Dynamite. And then 3 for the pay-per-views, but 1 could be on the pre-show.
Okay.
I don't think that's too much to ask. I really don't.
I mean, that does almost double what they're doing now, so there you go. I mean, kind of, because they did just do 1 each on Rampage and Collision. But yeah, for typical weeks.
Like, even if it's Athena Ring of Honor women's title defense on the pre-show, I'm cool with that too. I just want to see more of the women that are doing fucking really well. Just like I want to see more of Dalton Castle. I want to see as much Dalton Castle as possible. I sure the hell don't want to see him lose to Nick Wayne, of all people. But whatever. If I can see more Dalton Castle, I'm all for it. I'm the same way with the women. Like, Athena has been fucking killing it. And we've seen her wrestle 1 time on AEW TV when all the other champions, and AEW TV, by the way, is literally a pre-show for a fucking 0 hour. And everybody else is all over the fucking place.
I will say about the Athena thing, though, is that keeping her separated like they have makes her seem like super fucking dominant.
If they're going to do that,
ROH.
If they're going to do that with their other champions, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Because Eddie Kingston hasn't been seen in a while, right? Samoa Joe just vacated the title. So maybe whoever the new Ring of Honor champion is for the TV title will stay more on Ring of Honor instead of coming over too. Because Samoa Joe is probably the most prominent Ring of Honor champion over on AEW TV. Besides Claudio before him, when Claudio had the world title. If you're going to actually separate them and keep them over there like they're doing with Shibata and Athena, then yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm very okay with that.
I would say MJF is probably their most prominent right now.
Nah. Anyway, I think this is really good for the division. I just want to see the division displayed better on fucking weekly TV. That's all. The roster is stacked. It's stacked. It's not 2006 SmackDown roster stacked, but it's stacked.
Stop. Remember how stacked that roster was?
Remember how stacked 2006 SmackDown was? All right, anyway.